Okay, these are the Plunger Face Extensions. Plunger Face Extensions are used in wet material. Super wet material, not so much with this baler, but wet material. So if it's damp and kind of gooey, not gooey, but damp and chewy, ropey, I guess would be the word, it has a harder time to pack the hay in. So what you want the plunger to do is actually push the bale back farther. I think I've explained this already. I'm a little ahead on my videos, or behind posting, I guess. So what I've done is I've taken this 3x3 square tubing, 1/8 inch thick, and I have, as you can see here, I cut it out, dropped that down, I tapered it, and then I re-welded the side, and then I put an end cap on for strength. You gotta have strength, because this would just stove in if I didn't do that. So the reason I did this was so that when the stuffer forks shove the hay up into the bale chamber in front of that plunger, it misses it. If it does actually catch anything here, it has a slight little ramp here to slide off as the plunger's coming forward. But I don't think it's going to do that because the plunger's actually moving back still before the plunger or before the stuffer actually stuffs it up in there, and this fork or this taper tucks in behind the knife. So there's the movable knives, the small short pieces, or the shears that go on the knife. So you have shears that are on the plunger, and then you have a stationary knife on the bottom. So this should pass this. And I haven't put these up in here yet, but I'm going to do it right now. So yeah. Oh my God, what's with these pins? Is that for that thing?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. So you can see where I'm going with these. Right here. It's actually working out pretty good. You know what? I do have a slight little issue with them. You know what it is? They're slightly long. Interesting. Well, it's easy enough. I'm only going to weld these extensions on the faces at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to, you know what I'm saying, it's just going to be a weld here and a weld down there. But I do have a little bit of an issue, and you know what that issue is? I need to grind a little bit off of it because I made the tolerances so tight. I'm about a 32nd of an inch too tight. Give me another one of these things. They should all be the same length, but I'll just grind them. I'll just grind them and pinch them in, and then run a bead down them. It won't take long to do. Yeah, see that? Got it? Thanks. Cool. Yeah. Alright, so that's how they're going to go in. Notice that?
Hmm.
So that's going to push the hay back.
Yeah.
About 2 inches, 2.5 inches. Anyway, I'm going to get the grinder, the heavy grinder, and grind those off so that I can just smack them in with a hammer, and then I'll tack them.
Okay.
So, oh man, here, take this wrench I don't need here, and these washers and this here, just don't. Okay. Kind of shocked that it did that. I'm gonna have to give me a. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is morning still, I think. I had a complaint. Why don't you actually show what you're doing instead of just pointing the camera at your face and talking? And it was said in jest, and I appreciate the comments. It's great. I'm not being a dick. Anyway, so I decided to just. You can't look at my face, but you can hear my voice and watch me do the work that I'm doing. These Plunger Face Extensions, I've had a lot of questions about them, like, hey, is that going to get in the path, or is it going to push past the plunger dogs too far, and then the slice of hay or the flake of hay going to come back and hit the plunger dog? Well, if you see the vertical posts, there's 5 in the centers. There's 5 center ones, and then there are one on the right and one on the left, where the plunger dog actually recesses into the face of the plunger. I am not extending those. So the whole point of this is to actually take the hay farther back into the bale chamber, so that when it does actually when the needles cycle, there's less chance, 2.5 inches of less chance that there's going to be anything in those slots or in the path of the needles, so they can catch it and send it up into the knotters. There's a lot of problems with that. As a matter of fact, this actually has the Mays Corporation's top extenders on the top of the plunger. According to them, they've never heard anybody putting face extensions on. I don't know why. I mean, it's not a new concept by any means. They are in other manufacturers' big balers, but for some reason, on the Heston balers, they just never thought of it, I guess. Now, I'm not saying that this is even going to work. I mean, you have to fail before you have some successes, and hopefully I don't have a failure. I'm hoping that this is just a success, and if it is a failure, then guess what? I get to climb inside there and drag all that shit out of there, because let me tell you, it's going to suck. It really is going to suck, because there are no bale ejectors on these 4x4 balers, at least this model 4x4 baler. There never was. And if you can see where I chopped out the corner posts, I was thinking of actually putting a couple of pieces of channel iron in there, like 2 inches wide or 3 inches wide, making a roller system that I can shove a ejection system out, or an ejector system in there with the skid steer, and actually shove it up the rails and then pull it out with the skid steer. And my skid steer has a lot of pull, or even a tractor for that matter. The hydraulic cylinders, you just inch it out a little at a time. Shove it in, yank it out, shove it in, yank it out, and hopefully that would do it. I don't know. It's just one of those food for thought kind of things. Overbuild it so that it's strong at the corners. You'd have to gusset the piss out of it, and then just pull it out. Now, once it comes out, then you got yourself a bit of a problem. You'd have to pick it off with, say, the front end loader, or maybe just drop the skid steer or the bucket off the skid steer, and then grab the spikes and pick it off so that you don't destroy destroy my bale ejector. That's just my thoughts. I don't know if it'll work or not. I really don't. I mean, I guess I could make it so that there's a hitch pin, so it stays in there stationed all the time, and then you just hook up. I don't know. This is just me thinking out loud here to get these bales out. But anyway, with removing the bale out of these things being a half a day job, it sucks to do it. I had an old New Holland 2000 baler that had no bale ejectors, and it would take literally a couple of hours and very sore fingers to get this stuff out of here. And it doesn't matter. You can drop cables down through the front of the bale chamber and then wrap them around, hook a big heavy steel rod to it, and hook it to the biggest tractor you got. You will break half-inch cable before you pull that bale out of there. I don't know what it is about these 4x4 balers, but they really hold a bale tight in the bale chamber. So, and what I've done, to the bale chamber, which you'll see later in this series, that what I do to it, you're going to be like, holy smokes, that's going to really bind shit up. And it will. It's going to bind stuff up. That's the whole point of forming a bale, is to bind that hay in there in an even fashion and make it produce a bale that is worthy of baling, or shipping and hauling and stacking. Today's job is going to be getting the stack wagon on a different tractor. I think I'm going to put it on a 40 or the 7810 for now, or maybe I'll find another tractor that I have hidden in the back barn somewhere that I can hook this thing to. The 4230 would operate it with the multiplier, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, the baler is actually ready to go to the field right now. It really, truly is ready to go to the field right now. And I think we've settled on a price for the baler. I just figured I'd throw this out here. I put in my offer. This baler, if it went through, say, Huber's shop and had, all the broken bits and pieces done to it that I did to it, would probably sell somewhere between $15,000 and $18,000, or I'd say $16,000 and $19,000 in there. So I've got about $7,000 worth of time and parts into it. Probably more than that, but I figure for what was broken when I received the baler, about $7,000 worth of time and parts into it. 3,500 in parts, actual AGCO parts, and the rest would be time, equal amounts in time, just to install those parts and pieces. So, you know, if you do the math, you can guess in the comment section below what I made my offer at. You know, between $17,000 and $19,000 for the baler if it was ready to rock and roll. Go ahead and do that now because you're going to get to see the rest of this story live. Okay, so we don't care about low batteries. He seems to be concerned. I'm not, because I got another one in my pocket. Okay, so Grant just got done doing an all-afternoon job of putting in new rollers in these needles. The battery went dead. Anyhow. All right, so Grant just got done putting these in here, and needles can bend, and they are bendable. You don't really want them to bend too much, but you don't want them to, you really don't want them to be bent on the ends here. Now, I've already done 3 of these things. What happens with them is they actually touch the knotter frame, and this little lip here will bend inward. Well, the whole idea about this open face needle is to catch the twine, the top string, this top strand to come up through here, and it won't go down the side of it, but it'll catch it in the middle, and that's what you want it to do. But if it is bent out or inward, then it can actually deflect off to the side. New Holland and probably Heston at this point, or AGCO at this point, has gone with a wider end pulley. So all you do, and I did this one partially, but you can see it, that it's kind of cocked inward, but all you do is you take your pair of vice grips and you just ever so gently bend it out. If you don't do that, well, this one's a really, really good one. That one's bent. You can see how close it's bent into that little pulley. So you just kind of want to do that. A little here and a little there. And they're just so freaking flimsy. I ain't kidding you how flimsy they are. And this will make your baler catch that string that much easier. Are you done right there, or are you just listening to me yak? What? You're done, or are you listening to me yak?
I'm done.
Cool. So anyway, yeah, see how flimsy that is? And I don't know, it's up against the knife arm there. This one here is a little funny, and I have to check my tucker fingers. This one here is tight. Why is that so tight? I mean, when they come up through there, that aligns them, but I think we're good. If they're not right, I'd hate to have to buy these needles because they're several $100s a piece, and, you know, but we just redid these rollers. These rollers are more important than these rollers up here, but they're all important. But if these stop rolling, it'll wear a hole right through them, and that's what the case was with the old ones. They were shot. So yeah, so that's what we've done. So it's all pretty much, we're back in business now, right, Tim? Right? Yep. Okay. All right. So let's tear the other side off. Oh, yeah. Might as well explain what we're doing. Besides that, right, Tim? Are you done there?
Yeah.
Let's move over to the other side. You got an oil tank to take off. So we just got done. Grant, move out of my way. I'm going to come downstairs here. All right. So we just got done putting all this shielding back on. At least.
Give me my wrench.
This part of it. What we had to do, and you probably saw the torching in the video, right, Tim?
Yeah.
The torching in the video is the hinges, the hinge pins on the boards, these boards here, were broken. And when they're broken, they're a real bastard to get out. You actually have to torch them into these little hot dog sized pieces. How many did I make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 of these little hot dogs. That's a 3/4 inch pin that you got to buy from ag cohestin, or you can make your own. I opted to make my own. Right, Tim? So what I did was I went down to the local supply and I bought 3/4 inch cold rolled steel. My dad said I should have bought drill rod. Well, I don't want to buy drill rod. Drill rod's expensive. So anyway, and they didn't have drill rod, so to hell with it. I got 3/4 inch cold rolled. Now, when I had my New Holland 2000 years ago, it had the very same problems. When I bought that baler, I went to the field, it wasn't working right, and pretty much figured out that the hinges on the doors had broken off, and it broke the pin. One of the pins had broken in the middle, which destroyed the hinges, caused me a whole ass ache. I had to pull the door off, the hinge off, and you know, rebuild them, put them all back in, and you know, reinstall it. And I never had another problem with it since, with the cold rolled steel that I had gotten from, well, this is probably hot roll. Maybe it's cold roll. I don't know. It's steel. I never had a problem with them again, and I baled more bales with that baler after I bought it than it had previous. I think it had 18,000 bales on it, and then when I sold it I had almost 40 or over 40, so 18 and 18 is 36, so it was only 16,000 and I had 38,000 on it. It was something like that. I have to go back in my video reference guide and see. But anyway, I put this in and it worked, so that's what I'm going to do now. Finish putting these in. Tim's taking the other side of the shielding off, which it is a bit of a pain in the ass because you have to move the upper board spring. The upper board has a pin that goes through it, and you can shift it to the right if you need to get to the left side, and you can shift it to the left if you need to get to the right side. So the left side was broken out at the bottom, or at the top, and the right side is broken off at the bottom. And you can see, I'm going to zoom in here. Right, oh, where in the hell is that thing? Right there, right? You can see that pin right there. So it's actually broke off at the bottom and has started to shift upward. Well, it has to, I have to get the pin off the top and then drive it down the bottom and torch it off, make a bunch of hot dogs again, because if I take it off at the, if I pull it up the top, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do, if I pull it out of the top, then it's going to flop the board over, and it's going to be a whole new level of horse shit to get that straightened out and put back in place. Now, what I did to this side was I actually put this piece of flat metal on there and I welded it to the back beam here. And I put a pretty hefty weld on it. So what I'm probably going to do is go ahead and I might just weld it and try and pull that one up and then drop the new one in. That might be the best way to do it, because this weld was really good. I mean, and it was a bird shit weld too. It wasn't even very good, but it was quite a bit to get it off. And as long as it's fastened on the side and I can pull that rod up, maybe life will be good to me, and I'll be able to just pull the top one out and drop the new one in without having to torch everything on the way out. But we'll find out. So, oh, more time. This was unexpected, by the way. This was not something that I planned on having to do. What my job today was going to be to add the extensions onto the back of the boards and build a chute. I've got some galvanized angle iron that was given to me. Thanks, Frank. And I bought this steel here to do the extensions on the boards. And what else was I going to do? And that never even happened. I mean, I went and got the steel, and there's diamond plate. So this diamond plate will go on the inside of those boards, and what that'll do is allow me to have less pressure on the boards and have more tighter square bale through the friction that is produced by this board, this diamond plate. So I won't actually have to have so much pressure.